Hi, I'm Kevin Lee. I'm co-founder of Did It. Did It is a digital and traditional agency that bought the Halo Group, which is probably the website you're on right now. And you may have done a search on triple hash to figure out what it means. I'll answer that right out of the gate. It basically means you reached the end of the press release. So that's super simple. Now we can move on as to why I'm making this video and posting it both here on the Halo website as well as on the YouTube channel of the eMarketing Association. It's because I think it's part of a broader conversation. I also run the eMarketing Association. So probably what you're trying to get is PR and publicity. And while press releases are an important part of that, it's really a broader strategy that is more likely to work for you. So easiest if I just sort of tell you a story of how I needed some PR a couple of years ago. I had built a nice luxury house on the beach in Fire Island, which is a resort community on the south shore of Long Island, a bit closer to the city than the Hamptons, at a lower price point, but really an up-and-coming beach community. And so eventually we didn't really need the house anymore, so we put it on the market. But I wanted to get some publicity. I wanted to get some PR. But I knew that the chances of me being able to get a reporter to write about my house were pretty low. So I had to think about it from the perspective of what's the bigger story? What's the story that my house can be part of that story, and that will increase my odds of getting in a story? My primary target was the Wall Street Journal, the mansion section. I wanted to get into the mansion section. So I pitched the editor of the mansion section on the idea, which is true, that there's a lot of high-end investment going into Fire Island at the moment. And this was 2.5 years ago. And it's entirely true. A lot of folks are taking the old beach bungalows and building them into luxury houses. And this is post-Sandy. So she wrote a story called The Wave Hits Fire Island, and my house is featured pretty prominently in it. That's obviously on the cover of the mansion section. But then when you actually dig deeper and go into the rest of the coverage, you know, my house is even more prominently featured. That's my house looking up at it from the ocean. This is a picture looking out at the ocean from my dining room, and this is the picture of myself and my wife and my kids, who were all, of course, super excited to be in the Wall Street Journal. And they sent out a photographer to take these pictures because they liked the idea of the story so much. Now, I could not have gotten a story written about my house. I pitched a much bigger story, and that's part of really the key to taking it beyond a press release. If you think about the press release, you're assuming that what you have to say is newsworthy, and occasionally that's true. If you're a venture-backed company or a publicly traded company, or you're a company that has discovered a cure for COVID, my guess is you're going to get plenty of PR. Most other companies struggle to get PR, and they use press releases as one of their tactics. But I prefer to actually figure out how to help the reporters do their job, right? If you can help the reporters do their job, your chances of getting coverage are significantly higher. So obviously, got the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal, got that hit. I also pitched the New York Post, and it was a completely different pitch. But again, it wasn't really about my house. In this case, I just pitched the idea that there's a lot of interesting architecture being built on Fire Island. So we ended up in the Lux Living section, and when they did the online version, they, instead of the same exact layout they used here, right, they called it Tour of the Funkiest Houses on Fire Island. I made my architect the star of that story, right, because the story wasn't really about my house. It was about cool houses. Mine happens to be one of them. So I got the PR nonetheless. So it's really about sort of creating these win-win situations between the writer or editor, yourself, and potentially a broader industry or a broader topic. And by doing that, you are significantly increasing your chances of getting the positive coverage. So we like to think about earned media and PR a little more holistically than a lot of PR agencies. You know, we come from digital, we come from SEO, and so we think about PR as being an evergreen placement and not just a flash-in-the-pan hit that you get. Because these days, Google's going to crawl it, and it's going to be there forever, good or bad. If it's bad, obviously you have a reputation management issue, and you'll have to use SEO. reputation management techniques to put good PR to push your bad PR out of the way. But if you do have good PR dominating the search engine results pages, that's great for you as a brand. It's great for you as a company, because a lot of those same PR hits that you're getting as a result of your earned media strategy have links back to your website. So not only do you end up taking over the search engine results page with positive content, but you get the inbound links to your website, which also gets your website to rank higher. Every once in a while, you are lucky enough to be an important part of the story and your phone rings without you having to do a lot of outreach and co-creating of the content with the reporters. And sure, when that happens, obviously milk it for everything you can get. So when I decided we should bid on the Gawker.com domain in an attempt to turn it into Gawker for Good, sharing half of the ad revenues with nonprofits the readers and writers picked, I got a ton of coverage. Reporters just kept calling me, and if you Google my name and Gawker, you're going to end up seeing a whole lot of coverage that I got as a result of that. I didn't do it for the PR. I did it because I had this idea, and I'm not getting it, but that's a story for a different day. You can email me if you want to hear more details on that. But another example of the sort of evergreen permanence of content is if you do a search for Fire Island Mansion, you're still going to, and you do an image search, you're still going to see the New York Post image there, right? So people also use image search. If your hit included video, that video may have a lot of permanence as well. So really try to break out of the silo of thinking about PR as a one-time hit and think about it as a process that creates evergreen content. The way we think about it is we think about it from sort of this Venn diagram perspective, that when you get traditional PR or digital PR, or you're engaged in public affairs and you get some public affairs coverage, all of that stuff feeds your SEO, both directly with inbound links and indirectly by helping get coverage in the search engine results page. But then you're also using it as part of a social media strategy. When you get that good PR hit, that creates a halo effect for your brand. And you should take that and you should get it out into your socials. If you don't have a lot of followers in your social media accounts, you can actually amplify it. So you can use paid social to amplify that positive PR that you got. And that's actually ends up being more trusted by a lot of consumers than things you say about yourself, right? If it's said in another venue that they trust, then that location of the PR has a stronger impact on their brand perception than often you'd be able to do on your own. So you can use paid social to amplify it. You can even use PPC search to amplify it, drive clicks into a landing page on your website where you talk about the positive PR that you got. Again, leveraging that halo effect that you got from the positive PR. You could use other paid media assets, programmatic display, video. You could do native advertising. There's a lot of other things you could do to further leverage the positive PR that you got. But that's not always necessary. The key really is to break out of the PR silo and use PR as a tool as part of a broader earned media strategy. And we found this to be super effective. It's a little bit different for every client. Obviously, we've got B2B clients, we've got B2C clients. Some are in really boring industries, some are in super exciting industries. In any case, you always want to try to weave it into a bigger story. So I don't know if you could take advantage of having a professional team to help you out with this kind of stuff or not. Obviously, my team and I Did It really enjoy this stuff. It's super fun. It's exciting to get those hits. It's exciting to get them to deliver value for clients, not only that instant in time, but over a longer period of time by making it part of a broader SEO strategy and digital PR strategy. So my contact information is here. Like I said, it's super fun, especially when you're good at it. Luckily, I've got a great team, so we're pretty good at it. And in the meantime, hopefully by the time you're seeing this, the COVID-19 situation has resolved itself. And if not, stay safe. And if it has, wow, that was quite the roller coaster we had. Thanks. Bye.